Evening everybody, this is the latest update on the Midland Belt Railroad. It's the 7th of March. Mansfield show has been and gone, and there's been quite a few lessons learned from the show and some jobs to do going forward. But first of all, just wanted to show you the latest road power. It's Alco Century 630, which I believe is a Bowser. Well, I know it's a Bowser locomotive. It's DCC sound fitted, and it is really impressive. I've always wanted a big Alco, and this is well, this was perfect. So I'm going to be using that to test the latest change to the layout. At Mansfield show, we kind of noticed that the centre board for West Island Street, the original layout, was the one that had the most issues with it, shall we say. The three-way switch just kept like certain sort of like light plastic wheeled rolling stock kept derailing on it, which was causing trouble. So that needed to be addressed, and I think just in general the overall quality of that centre section wasn't quite up to scratch compared to the two newer pieces, Thorn and Handico. So I have, the day after the show I had a day off work to recuperate from the busy, hectic nature of the show. I figured that what I would do would be to chill for a while, play on the Xbox, things like that, just get away from it and just relax. However, that didn't happen. There's 2 weeks to go until the Nottingham show, and so Monday I spent the day working on a replacement for the centre board, and this is it. This is as far as I've gotten so far. So quite a lot of changes, but I think it'll do quite well. The general plan is to have Davis produce roughly where the GP30 is. The spur that ends at the end of the board there is going to go onto a hidden staging track behind the back scene on Thorn. It'll take up the space on the stock shelf, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. Speaking of, as you can see, the board is a lot wider than the previous version of West Allen Street, and it sort of like widens out as it goes along and ends the same width as Handy Company. That's going to cut the stock shelf that I had at the rear of the layout, the size of that, in half, but I think it'll add more operational interest to the layout, and I can always add another stock shelf on to the underside of the layout. So the three-way switch has been replaced by a Pico one. This one works quite reliably. All the track is still code 100, with the exception of that three-way point, as they don't make code 100 three-ways, at least not that I know of. I like going for the code 100 rail, mainly because it's cheap, nobody wants it, so second-hand stalls it tends to be pennies, basically. I got about 30 feet of it for about a tenner, £10, not all that much. So anyway, where Villas Brothers was is just like a gravel parking lot for the moment. What that's going to get, that's going to be sort of like I think like a truck stop probably, with like a small diner or cafe or something by the edge of the road, which I'm currently working on using DAS modelling clay. That's going to be like a grade crossing going all the way across to the back of the layout. So that'll be like a truck stop with like a little diner or something along the lines on there for the truckers. And then on this side of the road, another gravel section here, and then behind the power cab there's an empty spot there. That's going to be the team track very early stages yet. But that section there is going to have a piggyback ramp alongside it, so I can use the spine cars that I've got for some trailer and flat car operations, which I think will add a bit more operational interest to the layout. There's the main running across here into the middle leg on the three-way. What I'm thinking of doing here somewhere, just in this gap here, is putting a small sort of like covered passenger waiting area, which more than likely is going to be based on a Southern Railway prototype. I've got some scale drawings for that, which I'll probably scratch build the model from. That will allow me to run the occasional passenger train on here. It's not going to be anything fancy, but I think it'll again add to operations. The spur in the centre there, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I'm thinking potentially an oil unloading point for tank cars, or maybe a locomotive stabling part, or I'm not sure yet. I'll work on that one as I go. This rear point here is a switching lead for where the Davis building is going to go, but it's also going to have sort of roughly this section here is going to have the Villas Brothers building back in place. I don't want to give up on that one just yet. I quite like the structure that I made. And then I'm not really sure what else I'm going to do with this. At the back where the glue and bottles and the isopropyl alcohol spray bottle are, I'm going to have sort of like some structures to go along with the Davis produce building. Then make things look a lot more like urban canyons sort of thing. This section here with the overgrown track is going to have like a lot of bushes and sort of like waste thrown away wood and sort of, you know, like the old rusted oil drum and that kind of thing. Basically just sort of like railside trash, that kind of stuff. And that's going to be the general plan. What I have done is I've cut a hole in the fascia and I've added the NC Power Cab faceplate, save me messing around. I've also got my Nottingham 2017 exhibitors plaque, which I'm quite happy with. And that's the state of the layout at the moment as it stands. So what I'll do now is enough waffling from me. Plug in the power cab and test the track. This is mainly for Ford to prove to him that it does work. And there we go. Proof. It works. I'll be doing scenery for the rest of the week on this one, I think. And then hopefully I should be able to get started on the buildings once the ground cover's complete. Shouldn't take too much longer to get it done, and it should be ready for Nottingham show in 2 weeks' time. Alright guys, thanks very much.